across the globe and across the world. So, in case you're interested in traveling or interested in a different culture of any sort, you're here on the right show, where I'm going to bring you vibes from all of those places. So, uh, you know, culture is such a normal thing. Culture is a very diverse thing, actually. It's normal in many perspectives, depending on what culture you're looking at, I would say. So organization culture is one of the most common culture. Even if you don't, if you think that organization culture, it's not common with me, it actually is very common. It's there in everyone's life. It's a part of your normal life. It's a part of your daily life. You can look at you can look at organization culture in many ways. One way is in an individual perspective and in a group like perspective. So an individual perspective would be like, for instance, myself. I've organized my life in a way that I wake up at this time, I go to sleep at this time, I have meals at this time. And that basically is what organization culture is. You talk about what you do at this time and that time. Hey Tim, how's it going? You just said hi. How are you doing? How's it all going, Tim? It's been quite a while since you said hi again. So I hope you're doing good, Tim. And Tim is whoa, Tim finds this very inspiring, this show. Well, I'm glad you find this inspiring. Well, I'm talking about organization culture and how this could even help you in your life, in case you want to organize something or you want to help like a group of people get organized. So you're on the right show. And like, if you want to like share your thoughts or opinions, you should definitely give me a call on the number that is 07852 473 473. We also go live on other platforms such as Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So if you check us out over there, do click on the notification icon so you get notified every time we go live. Now, we also have apps on the App Store and Play Store that is called Relax with a K, Relaks, Relax on these stores. Now, organization culture is a really diverse culture. It goes to so many ways you can look at it. So I like okay. I was talking about how organization culture can be looked in two ways: in an individual perspective and a group like perspective. Now, individual perspective is really simple. Our life is organized in this really simple pattern. If we keep following this day by day and day by day. But when you look at it from a different perspective, in a group like perspective, it's going to be different. All right. So Tim over here has commented saying Rolex radio. Well, nah, Tim. Sorry, man. The name of this radio is called Relax Radio. Relaks. Relax with a K. Relax Radio. You can check us out on the App Store or your social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. We're all over the place. So do check us out. If you're interested in following us or anything of such sort. Now, organization culture, it's all over the place. It's really common. The organization culture is mainly common in in groups, in such groups like of such. It's mainly put into businesses and organizations, I would say. So to put this in perspective, it would be like simple. For instance, you and your friends, you want to start making a business. Let's say, for instance, a simple clothing line. You want to make a clothing line. You want to sell your clothing to many people out there. You want to put this brand out, a shirt, for example, with this brand name, brand logo. So you need to communicate with your colleagues, saying like, okay, I want this type of a t-shirt to be produced. I want this type of a design to be produced. So you're going to have to communicate with your colleagues. And now communication is like really simple, but like organizing this process is going to be the hard part, and that's where organization culture steps in. Now, how this would step in is really simple. You talk with your colleagues on how you want this business to work. You give your side of how you want this to work, and then you listen to their sides of how this work. So you both come to terms and agreements on this is going to happen like this, and so you both agree to this term. So then it works really simple. So organization culture, even though it's like a really simple thing, it is quite complex, I would say, because there's so many things that affect it, even though it's a really simple thing. Now, like managing, I'd put managing under organizing culture as well, because you had to manage your things over there. It's really hard. It's really it's really hard, I'd say. So Timothy is back again, and he says, teach us how to integrate organization culture into a business. Well, all right, Timothy, I'll be talking about that. Let me give you a little brief description on how you get there as well. So organization culture, there's so many things that affect this, and one of them is management. Now my biggest example I'm giving right now is, in case you want to start a t-shirt business. So you want to sell this. Now you need to organize when you're going to sell your biggest release of t-shirts. Like, for instance, I'm going to drop a huge bunch of t-shirts for Friday. Now this is an example, I'm not actually going to do this, but like, the next Friday you're going to release a new drop of t-shirts. So you need to organize with your colleagues, like, okay, we'll advertise on these places, we'll use these platforms for advertisement, we'll do promotions, we'll do collaborations with these creators, so we can get this name out there. Now that is the easy part, right? But telling your colleagues on how to do it is what's important, because, like, well, it's what's important. Now Timothy over here says that he doesn't wear t-shirts. Well, Timothy, for example, then let's take a shirt company. In case you want to make a shirt company where you sell shirts, also you can apply this system in so many other ways as well. Now, sorry. Now, so, like, you can put this in management as well. So one thing that affects management culture is the safety regulations. So you're managing someone, you need to be conscious of the people you're managing, because if they get harmed or anything, it's the superior person who's superior to these colleagues who are going to get affected, I'd say, because they are, like, you're taking care of them, you need to be concerned about them, you need to be worried about them. So if anything happens to them and you as the manager managing them, you would get affected mainly. Now Timothy, he says that he is a bikini model and he does it 24/7. I And he says he does it 24/7. So, like, in Timothy's case, let's say that he is a bikini model and he wants to sell more bikinis out there. So he has a drop out. He has a drop coming out this Friday, and he needs to organize this in a way that drop is successful, it catches more audience, it catches more people, and it's going to be a fun experience for the customers as well. So what he'll have to do is he'll have to go through a whole process of checking out with his customers on what kind of bikinis they want, what kind of designs they want. So after checking that and organizing that, he'll have to now coordinate with his staff, his fellow co-workers. He'll have to check with them, these other designs that people want out there. They want, like, these kind of things, these kind of color patterns. He'll have to talk with them. So now, while this is happening, there's many other things that you should stay concerned about. Okay, so Timothy again has commented, I think it's important you share the vision of a company so everyone knows where they're going. What's your take? Well, I actually do agree with that, because, like, a company without a vision is a company that's just going with the flow. And if you have a vision, it's going to be really really good. Well, I know a lot of people out there who own their own companies, and Timothy has also commented, then assign in roles and hold everyone accountable. So he commented previously, I think it's important to share the vision of the company so everyone knows where they're going. What's your take? He asked that from me. And then all after that, he commented, then assign roles and hold everyone accountable. I find that concept really really strong. It's going to be a really good concept, because when a company, like I said this a few moments ago, a company without a vision is a company that's just going with the flow. So if a company has a vision, they know where they're going, they know what their target is. They would be a very target oriented company. So for instance, let's say you're a game developer company and you want to build, like, these specific type of games. For instance, hyper casual games are, like, the most simplest games. They're really easy, they're really convenient, and they're really addictive as well. So if your goal is to build such a simple kind of games, and you tell this to your fellow coworkers, these are what I need to do. For example, you'll have to hire graphic designers, people who come up with concept art for these type of games. You'll need to come up with people who are good at coding, so they can come up with the coding for these type of games. There's so many people that you have to assign roles to, because doing a simple task, even though it's simple, there's so much things that contribute to a single task. Now, you have to consider where you're going with this, what you're doing with this. So definitely a company with a vision is a company that's really good. You'll have to definitely assign a role. So like when you assign a role, a person is definitely going to become accountable for what they do. You tell them the gravity of what they're doing, and like there's so much gravity on what they're doing, then they'll understand where they're at. They'll take their job in a really good way. They'll definitely take their job in a more serious manner as well. So I feel like that is a really good thing you should like put into your company or organization. You should definitely put this system where saying that, oh, I have a vision, I want this vision to go out with the company, and that is something that you should definitely put. But also, like, even though you put your vision, you got to tell them the gravity of everything that's going on. So like in this organization culture, there's so many things that you should consider. So for example, like in a group, now let's say this game developing company, you own a game developing company. You told them this is what you want to do, this is what you want to do, and all of that. Timothy has commented again, collaboration or commanding. All right. So you mean by, you mean as like a boss to command, or collaboration? Well, I feel like it's better if the boss is more of a collaboration. So then you see him in this friendly perspective. You won't see him as this commander, because, when I say the word commander, to my head, it comes like, this really strict man who's got this very, very strict face, who just says something and just says a command, and you have to do it as well. Now now commanding and collaboration, these two are really different words. They do have different meanings as well. Collaboration is like, you work as a team, you work as a friend with your people, whereas commander is, you give directions to what they should do, and they do it, and no further questions, they have to do it. So that is what I feel like collaboration is way better than commanding. And in a culture perspective, I feel like putting a collaboration culture to a group of people would be way better than putting a command in a culture. Explain the game concept you spoke about. Explain the game concept you spoke about further, please. All right. So now I was talking about how, let's say, you're a game developing company, you want to build games. Okay, so you give this vision to your coworkers, saying that I want to build this many games. So now you embedded this idea in their head, and you assign roles for each employee. You're like, you have to come up with the concept art, you need to do the coding, you need to do the graphic design, and all of that. Okay, so each person has this task. So you, like, as the leader, you should definitely have insight of all of these areas. So in case they need help, you should definitely be able to help them. So in that way, you can look at it in a collaborative perspective. It's more friendly, right? But if you like tell your co-workers, like, in a commanding way, like, oh, I want you to design this, I want you to draw this art, I want you to build this game, and they're going to be like taking this in a rude way. They won't see you as an approachable character. So I feel like you need to embed this culture. When you're doing an organization, you need to embed this culture where you're concerned about your coworkers, you know what they want. So when you approach them in this collaborative manner, they see you as a friendly person, they're open with you, they can share more about themselves with you, so you can understand them more. And and when you ask them to do something, they won't look at it in a stressful manner. Because when you give a person a command, they're going to be like, okay, I'm stressed, if I screw this up, he's going to be angry at me, he or she is going to be angry at me. So giving a command is something quite it's not pleasing, because it mainly comes off as rude, I would say. But collaboration is definitely something, a really good approach, if you're trying to put it in organization culture. So like, also, like, now I was talking about this gaming concept, and how you should also tell your coworkers or fellow friends how the gravity of what they're doing. Like, there are ups and downs in anything. There's a positive side to it, and there is a negative side to it, no matter what you do. So now I was talking about this gaming concept. You told your employees their roles and what they need to do. Now you need to also tell them that, if we fail to do this, if we fail to do these tasks, the company is going to go down in a loss. Companies are not going to do very well, and all of that. Timothy over here is asking, have you done these studies with any companies? How do companies like Google or Facebook operate in terms of culture? Well, I'm not that aware of Facebook, but Google, I believe they have a place located in America, and I was watching this small documentary on YouTube on how they work. So Google, they mainly work on the customer output over there. Timothy again has commented, so centralized and decentralized companies show better results. Uh, I'm not that sure on that because decentralized, it means like, not in the center, and centralized means you're centered. Okay, so I'll get back to that right after I talk about how companies such as Google, how they incorporate these type of cultures in them. So Google, they mainly work on customer reviews. So customer reviews are really important for companies of such, so they can embed it in their culture. Now culture is something that happens across everywhere. So for instance, like, food is a huge culture, right? So if Google wants to advertise food, they'll have to get like a survey done by many of their customers, and they'll be like, they'll ask their customers, what type of food do you like seeing, what type of food do you like eating? After asking multiple questions like this, and getting multiple answers from more than hundreds of people, they see the percentages of what people like to see, and all of that. Now if you want to like share all of your opinions or thoughts or anything of such, or even if you have a question of anything, you should definitely give me a call or send me a message on the number 07852 473 473. Well, I also go live on other platforms such as Facebook, Twitch, YouTube. So do catch me over there and turn on the notification icon every time you go and check out the place. And we also have apps on the App Store and Play Store. So in case you want to like download us and listen to us in your own convenience, you should also download our apps over there. That would make it more convenient for you. Now, I was talking about, how, companies such as Google, how they've embedded this culture into them, where they consider, how they've like, the question that Timothy had asked was, how do companies like Google and Facebook operate in terms of culture? The culture they operate mainly is customer based culture, because Google is an online platform. They have many things. They have apps like Google Maps, they have Google, the search browser as well. They have Google, they have their own App Store, Play Store. They have like that thing to compete with the App Store and Play Store, the Apple version of it. So they have Play Store. There's so many things, right? So Google, they mainly work on customer basis. So whatever the customers want is what they cater to. So their culture is catering, I'd say, because they serve the purpose of helping others, and that's what Google does. Well, if well, like, now I was also talking about, for example, this gaming industry. If you're a game developer, if you're a developing company, how you would integrate the organization culture into you. So now I spoke about, how you got to tell your fellow co-workers how, what responsibilities they have, what they have to do, what they must do, and what they must not do. So you also have to tell them the gravity of what they're doing. In case if they fail to do a certain task, you need to tell them that, oh, the company is going to go down, the company is going to fail, and you need to tell them it's basically because of them. And that's going to put them in this position where they understand what they're doing. They come to this realization: if I do this, I'm going to lose my job. If I do this, I'm going to bring down my fellow co-workers as well. And you need to explain this to them in a more friendly manner, I would say, than in a more commanding manner. Because Timothy had already asked this question: do you think everything should be everything should be done in a collaborative way or a commanding way? And my personal take in this is that things should be done in a collaborative way, because collaborative ways it engages more of your it means you're engaging with your audience, you're engaging with your fellow co-workers. So I feel like collaborative way is the best way. And you tell this to your customers, that this is the you tell this to your employees, that this is the gravity of what would happen if they don't do this thing. So they understand this and all of that. So now I'm here to talk about organization culture and so many things and how it's there in our day-to-day life, how it's like affected us. Even subconsciously, we apply organization culture to our own lives in a like more unconscious way, I would say. So I'm going to talk more about this right after a short break from our sponsors. So do stick around. I'm going to talk about how organization culture is there in an individual as an individual life, as in an individual's life, and it's how it's also been put in a corporate field as well. So do stick around. I'll be right back after a short break. That's right. I'm your host, Matt, and I'm here all the way till 9. And I'm here to bring you vibes from different places, different cultures. In case you want to travel to a place and want to know about specific things, you should definitely give me a call on the number, which is 07852 473 I'll put it right up here on the screen in case you missed that. We also go live on other platforms such as Facebook, Twitch, YouTube. So you should check us out over there as well. And we also have social media pages such as on Twitter, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. So check us out over there as well. Now I'm here to talk about this different culture. It's this very subconsciously. It's this culture that even though we don't realize it, it's subconsciously there in us. It's there almost everywhere. It's organization culture, and you know how it you can use this to drive. performance. So like mainly what I'm trying to say is that if you put organization culture, you if you put organization culture properly in a group of people or in a company, it will definitely drive for performance. So the point of organization culture is to tell people that you have a goal, you have certain things you want to achieve, you have certain things you want to do. So that is simple. Okay, so it's really simple. That's what organization culture is. You have things to do and you want them to get done. So that's basically how organization culture is. Now, when you're organization, there's so many risks. When you're in an organization, and you're the manager of these people, there's so many risks that you need to stay conscious of. You need to stay conscious of the safety of your fellow workers, your fellow co-workers. You need to be like, you need to know what they're going through, because if they're like going through this very bad period in their life, this stressful period in their life, they'll definitely not want to, like, stay stay in this organization anymore. So what I'm trying to say is that you need to have like a very a very understanding relationship with your fellow co-workers. And like Timothy had earlier commented, saying have a more collaborative or commanding culture. So what I'm trying to say is definitely having a collaborative culture, collaborative organization culture in an organization or group of friends is one way that you can drive for performance. And another thing that you could definitely input into your organization is safety. Now I spoke about this. You need to be aware of your coworkers or friends health and all of that. So safety in many industries, such as, like, let's say for instance the construction industry, safety is like a huge thing that you should look at, because you're putting all the people, the co-workers over there at a risk. Because for instance, at a random time, out of nowhere, like a huge pillar or huge concrete bar or something like that could fall down. So that is something you need to do. You need to always be prepared for the future. You need to be able to predict what's going to come. You need to be able to know what is about to happen. So having the ability to predict is a really important thing, when it comes to organization culture. It's something like, as an individual also, I always try to like predict what's about to happen. Like, for instance, I check on the weather. I check on the weather, check whether it's raining, it's snowing, or whatever. So I know what's about to come. So I'm prepared on, how I should do my thing. So what I'm trying to say is that knowing, like, safety is a huge thing in an organization culture. It shows that, like, if you're a manager, it shows that you're concerned about what's happening here. Or even if you're an individual, you're concerned of how you're going to do things. So safety is something that is embedded in organization culture, and you can't deny it. Because, like, safety is basically ability to predict what's going to happen, if it's going to be a risk factor or unrisk factor. So that is something you need to be concerned about, and that is definitely there. It's embedded in organization culture. And there's so many ways, like, you can approach organization culture, because there's so many ways it's also done, and people do it in many unique ways. Like, if you look at it, like, I say that it's, you can look at it in two perspectives: in a unique in a single perspective, or in a group like perspective. Now, companies, so when companies integrate organization culture into their business, or their corporation or whatever, it's done in a very unique way, because each company does it in a different way. Because their workspace is definitely different. So the vibe that they need to produce, this organization vibe that they need to produce, will definitely be different. Like, I spoke about two environments. Like, for one environment, the first environment would be like a game development environment, and the second environment I spoke of is like a building, a construction environment. So if you want to, like, produce like this really friendly environment, you need to your organization culture over there will definitely be different. Because in a construction environment, I'd say the organization culture over there will be a little bit more stressful, because you need to be very concerned of your co-worker safety. The culture over there is more into safety. It's more into understanding how your co-workers are doing. But then when you look at it from, when you look at another company, and the other example I said is like a game development company. Now, a game development company would have to, their organization culture will be a little bit more calm, I'd say, because it's all done through a computer, it's all done through creative base, It's all about creativity over there. So the culture, the organization culture over there would have to inspire creativity. It'll have to be really calm and really soothing so that all the people over there are calm. So these two different places have different cultures, and it's all because of their workspace. So like, also you can also look at this in this other way. For example, now I'm going to take the same example again. You're a game development company and you worked at a big construction company. So you started this own game development company of your own, and you want to bring the same organization culture that was there with you in the construction company. You can't do that. So you can't bring a culture from another place, another company, and embed it to this same corporation, this same place, because it doesn't work. It's going to be really different. So what I'm trying to say is that culture is the culture you try to bring into a place will definitely be different from another place. So you can't force it. You can't force different cultures to just fix up to something. Now, there's so many things that happen in organization culture. Organization culture, once again, is when when a single man or a single group of people, they try to achieve something. So there's so many ways that organization culture works, and organization culture is basically to achieve something. It's put in many ways. Now, I spoke about how this is put in a group like perspective or in many companies. But when you're looking at it from like a solo perspective, like a single perspective, there's so many things. It's not that risky compared to doing it as a group way, but it is something that you need to be aware of. Like I spoke about how if I'm about to travel somewhere, I always check the weather, how the weather is. Now that's because I'm trying to organize my drive there. Like I'm if it's raining, I'll definitely be like, I'll definitely go slower on the road. But if it's snowing, I'll still go slower. I check on the traffic, I check on the weather, I check on all of that. And that's what I'm trying to say over here is that in organization culture, when it comes to like a solo person, there's very little risk compared to what you need to handle, because you're only thinking about yourself. And if you fail in organization culture as a solo person, it's only going to affect you. Whereas if you fail in organization culture in like a group of people, it's going to affect everyone else. So organization culture is different from each place to place. As a solo, it's going to be way calmer, way relaxing. But as like a group of people, organization culture is going to be way stressful, way complicated, way harder. So organization culture is definitely there everywhere we look at, everywhere we go, everywhere we see. So organization culture is definitely one of the most subconsciously, like we know it's there, but we ignore this culture intentionally, because we really know that it doesn't matter at the end, because as long as we get the job done, everything is fine. So our brain automatically organizes that in a way, and that it gets done. So that's how organization culture works. It's a really simple culture. It's there everywhere. You look at it, you look at something like, for example, like a computer. A computer actually has organization culture in it. It has like a whole process. So like computers, they have these huge gadgets in them, right? So they have like GPUs, these CPUs, and all these motherboards, all these circuitry, right? So organization in the computer is really simple. It takes a command from whatever that's happening in the computer. It takes it to the motherboard. It distributes it to all the specific areas it needs to be distributed at, and it does the command. So that's how organization culture works in like a technology kind of environment, like in a computer. And the culture over there is more of a commanding culture. But commanding culture doesn't work with humans, because humans are very, I'd say they're very emotional creatures, because they have a brain, they understand what's going on, they have perspectives, they have a view of everything. So organization culture is really different. You need to approach it in a different way. You need to understand whom you're dealing with. If you're dealing with like a group of people, you need to understand whom you're dealing with. You need to see if they're actually like, if they understand what you're doing, if they know what you're doing, and even if they know what they are doing. So organization culture is something like, it's really simple, but it could be taken in so many ways, in really complex ways as well. So organization culture, it's like even let's say, for instance, you're working in this place in a normal company, and it's filled with many diversities or diversity of people. So let's say you're filled with like people from this tribal kind of area. Well, you need to consider how they fit into the other people as well. And you need to organize them in a way. You need to tell them, this is how it's going to work. You need to tell them, tell them and make them understand, that they need to they can be whom they are, and be whomever they want. And you also have to tell other people that you need to accept these people. So you need to basically spread this message around, that organization, you can do whatever you want. So what I'm trying to say is organization culture is everywhere. It's really simple. It's all over the place. And no matter where you look at it, organization is happening. Organization is there subconsciously. It's even there in technology, which is the most weirdest part. Now, I spoke about like really interesting topics today. Like in case you want to travel to Scotland, or the new hotels that are about to open this year, and how organization culture drives for performance and how it's everywhere. So I speak of like these interesting topics, like from all over the world, different cultures, different places, and different things you want to like go and explore. I talk about these like every weekday. So you should catch me on my show, which goes from 6 to 9, and definitely check me out over there on we go live on Twitter, we go live on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and it's about the time where I head out. So do stay safe. Have a great night, because it's the night. It's about to be 9, and I think you guys should like drive safe, drivers of London and all of that. Drive safe. Do stick around, and do catch Jamie on tomorrow's show, where she's going to talk about inspirational things. If you want to bring your mindset up over there, you should definitely check out Jamie over there. It's about the time I head out, and I hope you all have a good night. Have sweet dreams, sleep well, sleep tight, because tomorrow's Friday. It's that day we all look forward to, because after Friday is the weekend. So I'll see you tomorrow from 6 to 9. My name is Matt, and you can catch me on the Vibe.